Today on KUJH News, April showers carry over into May and pour over the Midwest as chilly temperatures return, just when we'll have clear and warmer weather coming up. Ballots are due. The city school bond election is accepting mail-in ballots. Hear which schools city officials say are in need of a major update. And the latest on another fatal shooting in Topeka, the most recent incident at a city care center. KUJH News starts right now.
From the University of Kansas, you're watching KUJH News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alex McClune. Heavy rain and chilly temperatures are back in the forecast. Now the excess rain may affect your Monday commute, but it's also hurting farmers by destroying their crops. The rainfall is once again impacting nearby farmers preparing to harvest, as some take delicate fruits and flowers inside greenhouses for protection from the rain and cold. Other crops are at the mercy of the elements, throwing farmers and their business off schedule.
I've got some areas that I was hoping to plant in the next week or two, but there's standing water on those parts of the fields, and it might take a month for that area to dry out. And with the excess moisture in the soil, it makes it really difficult to convince people that now's a good time to buy plants.
Now Pendleton says too much rain will drown the plants. Hopefully farmers like him will see better conditions to dry out the rain later in the week. For now, Jacob Asherman is in the studio with a first look at our forecast.
Yeah, well, we're finally starting to see a break from all that wet weather this weekend, but we still have plenty of clouds making for a cool start to your week. Right now, 56 degrees. It is chilly out there with a west wind, 18 miles an hour, gusting up to 26 miles an hour. It's a cool one out there, guys. Now, zooming things out a little bit, low to mid 50s all across the board. You can see 54 in Topeka, 61 in Manhattan, to our southwest in Emporia, 59 degrees. Cool all across the board, but coming up, we'll have our rain chances, when we'll see our next showers and thunderstorms, and when we can expect our next warm-up, guys.
As eastern Kansas splashed through puddles and mud to begin the week, the west side of the state shoveled their way into the week. Mother Nature decided to throw some snow into the Kansas forecast. A massive snowstorm hit places like Garden City this past weekend. Heavy snowfall and high winds stranded drivers on the roads and blew out power lines, forcing some to evacuate for local shelters. Most of the schools in the area are closed today. City officials are urging people to stay inside until the conditions clear up. In Topeka, 4 are dead after a shooting Sunday afternoon. The incident took place in the southwest part of the city. Police say the location is an in-home care center for people with special needs. A 5th victim was shot at the scene, who was taken to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The shooter, 25-year-old Joshua Guerri, was among the 4 found dead at the scene. Police believe Guerri died from a self-inflicted gunshot. This investigation is still ongoing. At the Capitol, Kansas legislature is back in session after a 3-week recess. Lawmakers are working to finally set the state's budget. Kansas Representative Dennis Boog-Heiberger says the lack of leadership is to blame why Kansas doesn't have a state budget. Heiberger says the budget deficit is a result of past legislature.
We've just done a lot of short-term fixes, borrowing money and moving things from idle funds and postponing payments, and we're at a point where we can't do that anymore.
Heiberger also says to balance the budget, Kansas needs to require corporate entities to pay taxes and restore the top state income tax bracket. State legislatures are also focusing on school funding, taxes, and Medicaid. Back in Lawrence, mail-in ballots are due tomorrow afternoon for the Lawrence school bond election. The ballots feature an outline of the proposed project that includes updating the city's middle school and high schools. The project proposes an $87 million budget and over 60% of the money going toward Lawrence High. School officials say there are safety concerns in need of major updates. Students at LHS have to walk outside to get from some classes to other classes because the campus is made up of several buildings. The city would use the money to build walkways connecting the main building to other campus buildings. Election results are expected to be announced as early as the end of this week. When we come back, across the globe, protests gathering that Twitter is calling hashtag Mayday 2017. From Paris to Kansas City, demonstrators are marching for International Workers' Day. And just how climate change is affecting us in Kansas. Hear what a KU professor has to say about the phenomenon. Stay with us.
Watching KUJH News.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
We connected so fast when we first met. I think that our relationship will last for a lifetime.
Being a role model for someone, being there for someone, there's nothing I can compare it to. She has uncles up in Minnesota that treat me like I'm their own now.
I feel like she's actually my big sister in a way.
It's been one of the best decisions I think I've ever made.
This morning in Dallas, a shooting scene remains active after a paramedic was critically wounded while responding to a near-fire fire training facility. A gunman opened fire on an emergency medical vehicle, injuring a paramedic according to the Dallas Fire Rescue Department. Police and SWAT teams are seeking a bald man who's believed to be wearing jeans and a dark green shirt. No further details have been released about the shooter, and no suspects have been taken into custody. The first day of the month, known as May Day, is also International Workers' Day. Every year, protests spawn up around the globe to highlight workers' rights. On Sunday, groups in Kansas City held a rally where groups like the Progressive Youth Organization and Kansas City Revolutionary Collective came together to celebrate and advocate for the working class. This year, the majority of demonstrations are sparked by new executive orders from President Donald Trump. Already, thousands of people have taken the streets in major cities with protests ranging from the immigration ban to LGBT rights. One issue not in the spotlight, climate change, or at least that's what one university professor believes. KUJH reporter Nicole Fye tells us why he believes the change is here and affecting Kansas.
David Broughton is worried, but not for typical reasons. His worry peaked during the 2016 presidential election.
The whole election, there was not a single question in these debates about climate change, and that's probably the biggest threat to this country and other countries, and it's happening now. It's not 100 years in the future.
Broughton's work deals with polar climates with ice caps melting quicker than forming, according to NASA. Sea levels have soared since 1993, and according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, now rise about 1/8 of an inch per year. That brings his work home to the U.S.
You know, Miami is already reconstructing their infrastructure to handle floods.
But Miami isn't alone. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, since 1901, the global sea level has risen approximately 8 inches, the same amount sea levels on the western Gulf Coast have risen in just 54 years. At the same time, prominent figures like President Trump denied the existence of climate change at all, prompting Broughton's worry.
It's not going to slow down. If anything, it's going to speed up. And it's all political, too, because even the people that live there know what's going on, and the politicians know what's going on. I mean, it's just nobody wants to admit to it.
Though the rising sea levels can't affect Kansas directly, it can change life as Midwesterners know it through what Broughton calls secondary effects. And though these changes are occurring subtly, Broughton worries they will soon be more noticeable, a worry that peaks now every day. Reporting from Lawrence, Nicole Fye, KUJH.
Broughton says any efforts to reverse man-made changes in the climate, like windmills in western Kansas, do make a difference. Well, all this talk of weather, hopefully we can get a change in scenery heading into the week. Jacob Asherman is back with a look at our forecast.
Yeah, guys, well, it was a wild weekend for weather. We had blizzards in western Kansas, flooding in Missouri, and tornadoes in Texas. Things have finally started to clear up a little bit, at least through midweek. But after we have some showers and thunderstorms Tuesday, Wednesday, we were finally going to start to see that beautiful May weather we all know and love. But for right now, chilly outside. It's been a chilly start to your week, 56 degrees. All those clouds left over from that rain blocking out the sun, making for cool conditions. Winds out of the west, 18 miles an hour. Now, mid-50s all across the board. You can see 54 in Topeka, 61 in Manhattan. It's a cool day all across central Kansas. Now, this is the main culprit driving all of that crazy weather I talked about. You can see this counterclockwise turning. This is a powerful upper storm system. You can see it is pushing to the northeast, leaving us dry through tonight and tomorrow. You can see through the rest of the night by 5 o'clock, 54 degrees. Our temperatures are gradually going to drop by 7, 48, and those winds 15 miles an hour. It's going to be a cool night, so if you have a long night at the library like myself, definitely you are going to want to bundle up. Now, tomorrow highs, things do begin to recover. You can see mid-70s, upper mid-60s, low 70s all across the board, 70 in Topeka, 67 in Manhattan. Now, tomorrow here in Lawrence, 69 degrees pleasant. Those winds are going to die down a bit out of the northwest, 6 miles an hour. Now, looking on to the rest of our week, Tuesday, 69 and sunny with a light chance of thunderstorms. We could see a few showers and thunderstorms overnight into Wednesday morning, although if we do see any, they should be rather scattered in nature. Now, 60s through the rest of the week, 67 on Thursday, partly cloudy skies before things finally bounce back on Friday, 69 and sunny, guys. So after tomorrow and Wednesday, Sam, guys, it's going to make for some beautiful baseball weather.
Yeah, that's right, Jacob. Sam Davis with us now, and hopefully that rain won't affect us like how it did last week.
Yeah, baseball delays over the weekend, but temperatures look nice for tomorrow. Coming up next in sports, a former Jayhawk is calling it a career after 18 seasons in the NBA. Plus, while Jayhawk football failed to receive any attention during the NFL draft, 2 Kansas defensive stars landed free agent deals with pro teams. That and more next.
You're doing great. We're gonna try this again, okay?
Okay.
Wheels, pedals, handlebar, brakes. Sit up straight, keep your weight in the center, keep your eyes on the road, hands on the grips, button the seat. If we feel ourselves falling, what do?
Just keep
pedaling. Good girl. Now remember, it's all about balance and steering. Steer with your hands, steer with your body. Steer into the corners and you stay out of trouble. And the bell's your buddy, so go ahead and ding that. All right, you ready? Here we go. Pedal, honey, pedal. There you go, you're a bike rider.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. The doctor stopped by and said, well, it is leukemia. And then the next thing she said, without even missing a beat, was, and here's what we're going to do. We are so blessed and lucky to say that she is extremely healthy. I could not be more grateful for groups like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. It was that research that let that doctor say, it's leukemia, and here's what we're going to do.
It's not always easy being a dad.
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family?
This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
But when you make an effort,
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything. Oh, sorry. Go along, son.
it's always worth it.
Whoa!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
Jayhawk football continues to rebuild under the direction of head coach David Beatty, but over the weekend, 2 NFL teams believe they found a couple diamonds in the rough that is KU football. Kansas seniors Fish Smithson and Brandon Stewart both shined in the Jayhawks secondary as upperclassmen. While neither was selected within the NFL draft, both impressed pro scouts enough to earn free agent contracts after the 250-plus selections had been made. Smithson and Stewart joined more than a dozen former Jayhawks currently playing in the professional ranks. Cornerback Brandon Stewart has signed with the recently relocated Los Angeles Chargers, and safety Fish Smithson will be headed to the nation's capital to play for Washington. And believe it or not, the NFL preseason is 4 months away. With one draft in the books, sports fans now turn their collective attention to another. 3 former Jayhawks will soon be vying for the approval of multiple NBA teams at the league's draft combine. KU's Josh Jackson is likely to be a top 3 pick in this summer's draft. Player of the Year Frank Mason, who is departing after his senior season, just hopes to hear his name called. But Svi Mikhailuk, who has received a combine invitation after declaring for the draft, has not signed with an agent. Mikhailuk has 3 weeks to decide if he will remain with the pros or return to school for a 4th season. The 19-year-old averaged 10 points and 3 rebounds per game last season, but he may be best known for his footwork he exhibited as he scored the game-winning layup to defeat Kansas State at the buzzer. Mikhailuk's decision deadline is May 24th. While 3 Jayhawks prepare for the first chapter of their NBA stories, a former Jayhawk just closed the book on his own. From his first NBA points with the Boston Celtics to his final bucket last night in his hometown of Los Angeles, Paul Pierce amassed a remarkable 18-year career playing on the biggest stage in the sport. Pierce will retire as one of the league's all-time stars with a lifetime mark of 20 points per game. While it's been more than 2 decades since the truth first stepped on campus at KU, Pierce is still spoken of and remembered fondly in Lawrence. To baseball, where the Kansas Jayhawks continue to stay in the Big 12 picture. The team hosted Baylor in Lawrence over the weekend and split a Sunday doubleheader after losing the series. The Jayhawks currently sit at an even 500 overall and in league play, although the conference race remains a close one as the team enters the final weeks of Big 12 baseball. The Jayhawks still have Kansas State and Texas Tech on the remaining schedule. Kansas hosts mid-major Missouri State tomorrow night at Hoagland Ballpark.
Well, now that the semester is ending, guys, the giraffe whose birth was seen around the world finally has a name. April the giraffe, well, her calf is now known as Tajiri with Swahili for hope of confidence. Tajiri's birth went viral last month when the Animal Adventure Park live streamed the event to more than 1 million people. Staffers call him Taj for short. So hope of confidence sounds like something some students might need heading into the end of the semester.
I know I do.
I'm feeling good for finals week, Alex.
Hey, well,
I'm feeling good.
Good for you, Sam. So we'll see how the semester wraps up for everybody else. But for us, that does it for here on Mondays. Thanks for tuning in to KUJH this semester. For one last time, for Sam Davis and Jacob Asherman and all of our crew, this is Alex McLoone saying goodnight.